Man beat man is back.
Oh, okay, boys, do it again. Oh my gosh, the ring got messed up. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have delivered. Talk to us, true, talk to us. Oh, look at that, my God.
This is your boy. Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash the True Inferno. And about a month ago, I made a promise to you guys that I was going to review a number of topics in the form of a top 10. And basically, I would be doing this in order to compile a ultimate top 10, like my personal top 10, my top 10 all-time best shows. And it's going to be a long process. So I mentioned this a while back, gave you guys a synopsis or a premise of this top 10 and things of that nature. So if you want to watch that, the link will be in the upper right corner. So yeah, I recommend you stop whatever it is you're doing or pause this video and then watch that first. And then you can come back and finish this off, because we're going to jump straight into a brand new top 10 involving that video. So we're going to kick things off on the Nickelodeon category right here. And we're going to start it off with the top 10 Nickelodeon live action shows. Now, these are my top 10. These are not, there's no such thing as an official top 10 or anything like that. So, with all that stuff out the way, rather, let's get into my top 10. Number 10, Eurekas Castle. So, here we go. We started off with Eurekas Castle, and here's the deal. Like, for those of you who don't remember this one, a lot of you guys should remember this, but for those of you that don't remember this, here how it goes. So basically, the show follows various puppet characters in the style of Sesame Street, including Eureka, who is the star, who is a sorceress in training. Eureka and her friends live in a wind-up castle music box owned by a friendly giant. Other characters include Magellan the Dragon, Boogie, there's no I, so it's like B-O-G-G-E, and Quagmire, Batley the Bat, and Mr. Knack. There are also various appearing creatures such as mice, singing fist statues called the Fist Stones, or the Fist Tones rather, Magellan's pet Cooey in the slums, S-L-U-R-M-S, and Batley's pet spider Webster. How typical of a name. So, now I will admit, even though this is somewhat of a live action show, since we're dealing with puppet here, and I believe there's like some humans, like actual real life people in this show as well, there's also some animated segments in here as well. So, it's mostly live action, but you know, there's some animation in there as well. And this show ran from September 4th, 1989, all the way up to September 7th, 1996. So, and there was 4 seasons. Wow, check this out, 147 episodes. But this is without question a classic that was on Nick Jr., by the way. So, yeah. And this was really, really good. Like, this was really, I wouldn't say the definition or the pinnacle of my childhood, but this was a part of it without question, especially in the early 90s. Like, this was a part of it. Now, let's move on to number 9, The Adventures of Pete and Pete. This is a classic. So, basically, let me give you the setting here. Pete and Pete is set in the town of Railsville, and the state is implied but never really mentioned to be a fictionalized version of the real life town of Westville, New York. And allusion to its location comes during when Pete's collide, when the Pete's father runs 4 hours to the Canadian border to get rid of his bowling ball, which is called Rolling Thunder, which is weird. But anywho, so basically the show is about 2 brothers who just so happen to be named Pete and Pete. So both of them are, you know, named Pete. It's that simple. And this joint ran from February 9th, 1991 to December 28th, 1996. There was 3 seasons and I guess a few special episodes as well. You may recognize one of the guys who played Pete, the younger Pete, in the form of Danny Tamborelli. So he was on another show that made this list. We'll get more on that later. And he also starred in some other shows, or was featured in other shows, like another show. Let's see. I know he was in that show. I thought he was in something else, but he was in a bunch of other shows as well. But this is a classic. This is a classic. The music was actually good, especially the intro music. So yeah, that one was really dope, rather. And I watched this a lot as well during my childhood. So yeah, I really like this show without question. Number 8. Are you afraid of the dark? Ah, man, you want to talk about scary stuff? When I was a kid, this was one of them. Obviously, you have Goosebumps, you had Eerie, Indiana, but Are You Afraid of the Dark was the OG in my opinion. Yes, Goosebumps has the books, and then there was another one. It's like in the comic form. I read something involving trolls or I forgot what it was, but that supposed to be scary. That was scary actually. But Are You Afraid of the Dark? As far as TV shows that supposed to be scary for kids, this was the OG right here. So basically, here's the scenario. So the show revolves around a group of teenagers who refer to themselves as the Midnight Society, which is dope. Every week at a secret location in the woods, one member would tell a scary story to the group. The actual story, rather than the telling, was displayed to the television viewer. The story was shown between the group's arrival at the site and their departure. Each storyteller would begin their story by saying, "Submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society. I call this story," whatever the name of the story, at which point he or she would toss a handful of, and I quote, "midnight dust." I try smoking that anyway. "Midnight dust from a leather pouch into a campfire to heighten the flames and produce an eerie white smoke." So yeah, this was really dope. I really like this one right here, man. So this joint, here's the scenario about this joint. So it started in I guess it started in Canada. So it was shown in Canada first, October, and ironically enough, on Halloween, October 31st, 1990. And it ran all the way up to April 20th, 1996. But it was revived in February 27, 1999, and continued on until June 11 of the year 2000. So yeah, that was pretty dope, if I do say so myself. So basically, there were 7 seasons and a grand total of 91 episodes. So this joint was obviously a part of SNICK, which was a Nickelodeon's programming block, which was dope as heck. SNICK was dope as heck, by the way. So yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark, without question, is a classic. Number 7. Animorphs. Animorphs, or was I guess somehow called Anna TV, which is stupid. I never heard that. But anywho, so Animorphs, which is based off the book series of the same name. I had no clue there was a book series of the same name, to be honest. But this show was dope as well. And actually, if memory serves me correctly, I think it's on Netflix. It was on Netflix at one point in time. I don't know if it's still there now. I was watching on Netflix, a number of months back when I had Netflix. I need to get it back. But anywho, so this joint came out September 15, 1998, and kept going until October 8, 1999. So there was a grand total of 26 episodes, 2 seasons. So it felt like an anime. But the thing is, the first season had 20 episodes, but the second season, the final season, only had 6, which is weird. So it makes you, and it kind of ended in a cliffhanger. So it makes you wonder, was the show canceled prematurely? We don't know. There's not a lot of info here. But basically what the show is about is a bunch of kids or teenagers having powers to become animals. So they can shapeshift into animals. Thus the name Animorphs. And they will often go against the forces of evil in some way, shape, or form, whether it was like other humans or aliens or some type of supernatural being or superhuman powers, or superhumans with powers or whatever. So they were always going off against somebody, basically. But this show was really dope. I really like this one. It was a shame that this one ended in a cliffhanger. I thought that it should have had an actual conclusion to the show. But yeah, it was really dope, if I do say so myself. Number 6. My Brother and Me. Now this one, oh man, I used to watch this show all the time right here. Right? So this joint came out October 15, 1994, and lasted until February 2nd, 1995, excuse me. Now, yeah, they showed their reruns. Obviously, that was short. Yeah, and they were short because little did I knew at the time, until now, there was only 13 episodes. So there was only 1 season. So this felt like an anime. So you could easily knock off My Brother and Me in a day. I crap you not. So basically, judging by the name, this show was about 2 brothers. So obviously, you got the older brother, who was the preteen by the name of Alfie, and you got the younger brother who was named Dee Dee. Now, obviously, there's more to it than just those two. You got their older sister who was named Melanie. You got their parents, and of course, you got all three of the kids respect the best friends. Obviously, we all know about Goo, and you should remember Goo Punch, which was a classic scenario right there. You got Melanie's best friend, whose name, if memory serves me correctly, was... Oh, dang, what was her name? I want to say... God dang, I forgot her name already. I want to say... No, it's not Dee Dee. I'm going to say... Oh, my gosh, I forgot her name. And then you got Dee Dee's two best friends, Donnell and... Was it Milton? No, it's not Milton. It was... I forgot. But it's been a minute since I've seen this show. So... Basically, it was about really Alfie rather, and Dee Dee. And, you know, sometimes it'll be about Alfie, other times it'll be about Dee Dee, and things of that nature. Or it'll be about both, and, you know, like, half of the episode will be about one, the other half will be about the other, and things of that nature. So, yeah, and they had some celebrities in the joint, even though it was only, like, 13 episodes. Y'all remember Kenan Kel? Man, what happened to that guy? So, yeah, he was in it. The former Atlanta Magic small forward Dennis Scott was in it. And here's the scenario with this. This one I had no clue about. So it also featured Kenny Lane, the kid who had his haircut similar to Cool Dr. Money. Oh man, y'all remember? Oh man, that was hilarious. So Kenny Lane right now, or at one point in time, I guess, is a professional wrestler. No, he was at one point in time signed to TNA. And he used the ring name Kenny King. So that's pretty dope right there, if I do say so myself. But yeah, this show was a classic. And actually, it was canceled, just to let you guys know. So, in this show, and the reason why I like the show was because it was really mostly a black cast. Like, there was only, if I recall on the show, there was only one person on the show that wasn't black. And it was one of Dee Dee's best friends. So, that's interesting. Now... Here's the scenario of as far as why the show got canceled. So basically, there was a disagreement between the producers and the creators of the show. A second season was planned, but the two parties had different visions for the show that caused a major fallout. So, yeah, there was no second season because there was beef. Pretty much, that's the reason. All right, so now let's move on to number 5. All That. Yes, All That is my number 5. So here's the deal with All That. All That is a live-action sketch comedy variety show. So it's a classic. Without question, it's a classic. Nothing wrong with All That. So check this out. There's a total of 10 seasons and 168 episodes. And we're talking about a who's who of people who was a part of All That. So we're talking about Josh Server, who, if memory serves me correctly, went on to do Drake and Josh. Kenan Thompson, we all know about Kenan. Kel Mitchell, we all know about Kel. More on those two later. Lori Beth Denberg, who went on to do the Steve Harvey show. And let's see, who else? And y'all remember Danny Tamborelli from Pete and Pete? He was in here. Nick Cannon was on here. Amanda Bynes was on here. Jamie Lynn Spears was on here. More on her later, if you can believe that or not. So, yeah, a who's who actors, actresses, celebrities were part of this joint. And, you know, they had a bunch of musical performances on the show as well. So, this joint ran, by the way, if I can find it, here it is, April 16, 1994, all the way up to October 22nd, 2005. And because of this show, there was a bunch of spin-offs that was created from this show. So, one of them being Kenan Kel, more on that show later, The Amanda Show, The Nick Cannon Show, Zoe 101, more on that later, and Judge Jordan. And not to mention, we got the Good Burger movie. So yeah, a lot of things came from All That, and it is currently being aired right now on Splat, which is that Nickelodeon's program block that's going on right now. So that's pretty cool. So if you miss All That, you can watch it on there. It may be on Hulu and or Netflix, I don't know, but you can definitely catch it on Splat. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Now let's move on to number 4. Salute Your Shorts. Oh man, this one right here was one of my all-time favorite shows. Anytime this joint was on, I would always watch it. So this joint ran from June 1st, 1991 to June 29th, 1992. Obviously, they had their reruns and things of that nature. So here's the scenario with this show. So despite the title, this show took place at a, what was it? At an imaginary or a fictional camping site called Camp Anarana. And basically it's about, what is it, preteens or teenagers who live their life at summer camp, basically. So the show focuses on teenage campers, their strict and bossy counselor, and the various capers and jocularities they engage in. So as far as the title, so here's the scenario with that. The title came from a common prank campers play on each other, which is this. A group of kids steal a boy's boxer shorts and raise them up a flagpole. Hence, when people see them waving like a flag, them as in the boxers, other kids will salute them as part of the prank. Salute your shorts. So yeah, there you go with that. Now this joint had 2 seasons. Now here's the scenario with this joint. Now, in 26 episodes, obviously total, and it was 13 episodes per season. There was a pilot episode as well. So looking at the cast, so the first season, obviously you had the 3 girls, you had 4 guys, and of course you had the counselor, and you had the unseen camp director. Like, you hear this voice, who went by the name Dr. Khan, but you couldn't see him. Like, he was not there. So yeah, he was mostly for the intercom, things of that nature. Now, going into season 2, one of the guys actually left because he had chickenpox, and then he moved with his family, but he was replaced by another guy. And I thought season 1 was better because of the guy who was in season 1 and not in season 2. He really like stood out to me as the guy who would stand up against the guy who could proclaim himself as the king of camp. So yeah, I really like this show, man. I always watch this. And there was supposed to be a season 3, but the problem with season 3 was the cast members did not want to relocate to Orlando, which is the site of Nickelodeon Studios, as the show was recorded out in Cali. So it was out in LA, and they wanted to stay in LA for some odd reason instead of moving to Orlando. But Salute Your Shorts, great show. I recommend you watch it. Now, number 3, iCarly. Okay, we should all know about iCarly, rather. This joint is a classic. So this joint ran from September 8, 2007 all the way up to November 23rd, 2012. There was a total of 7 seasons and 97 episodes. So for those of you who don't know about iCarly, why I keep calling it iCarly? 1, where have you been? And 2, I don't know what to say about you. But I'm gonna help you out anyway. So basically, here's the plot. When Carly and her best friend Sam act funny at a school talent show audition, tech-savvy Freddie records it and posts it online without informing them. After seeing the girls' strong chemistry and banter, the online audience clamors for more, and the iCarly webcast is introduced. While battling normal issues of adolescence, Carly, Sam, and Freddie discover that they have also become online sensations as their show, which features talent contests, recipes, problem solving, and random dancing, garners international accolades. Carly, well, obviously all 3 of them, lives in Seattle with, well, Carly in this case, lives with her 26-year-old brother and guardian Spencer, and produces the show in a makeshift 3rd floor studio loft in their apartment. So yeah, there you go with that. So that's the show. So obviously the stars are 2 girls. One of them you should know, in the form of Miranda Cosgrove, and a guy by the name of Freddie. Obviously there are other characters in the show, but those 3 are the main focal point, obviously Carly being the star. So obviously, you know, yeah, there's some drama and things of that nature, but the show is really, really good, as you all know. There was also special episodes, but there's really 2. No, well, there's really 2 that you need to take notice on. And that's one of them being the crossover episode. I partnered with Victorious. So basically there's an iCarly joining forces with Victorious in a 3-part episode, which was dope. And they had their own television film called I Go to Japan, which was really funny, actually, if you believe that or not. So yeah, iCarly, without question, a classic sitcom and one of the best Nickelodeon sitcoms of all time, if I do say so myself. Now, moving on. Number 2, Neds, the Classified School Survival Guide. Oh man, I love this show, especially season 2 and season 3. Season 1 looked a little kiddie, obviously, because all of them was like, for the most part, little kids, with the exception of the teachers, obviously. But season 2, season 3, they really started to grow on me, and I really, really love the show. So for those of you who don't know about the show, basically, the show follows the lives of Ned Bigby, Jennifer Mose Mosley, and Simon Cookie Nelson Cook. The first season takes place during the first semester of 7th grade. Thus, the reason why I look kind of kiddie. The second season covers the second semester of 7th grade, and the season 3 takes place during the entire 8th grade. Throughout the series, Ned builds up a number of tips for his survivor guide, which is obviously how he survives middle school, really, and uses the tip to help himself and his classmates cope with the standard struggles of middle school. Each individual episode relates to a topic in the guide, such as popularity, grades, or sports, as well as developing other plots, such as Ned's love life throughout. So yeah, this joint started September 12, 2004, and ended on June 8, 2007. So, and this show took place at the fictional James K. Polk Middle School, named after the 11th president of the United States, James K. Polk, which is pretty cool, if I do say so myself. So, and actually, the guy who played Simon Cookie Nelson Cook, Daniel Curtis Lee, y'all should know him as well, because he went on to do other projects as well. Now, there was a proposed spin-off in the works, but obviously didn't go through. And this show, without question, is a classic. There's 3 seasons, like I said, and there's 54 episodes. So it's probably going to take you about a week to watch it. But if you haven't seen it, I recommend you watch this one. Now, before we move on to my number 1, and y'all should know what my number 1 is, let me give you guys some honorable mentions. Drake and Josh. So Drake and Josh is a classic, and obviously everybody knows about it, everybody talk about it a lot, but at the same time, with me personally, like, yeah, I would watch it here and there, but I felt like it wasn't enough to top, not just the top 10, but to top the 5 that came before it in the honorable mention list. The Mystery Files of Sir Beru. This joint was a classic in my opinion. Obviously, it's underrated. It really is underrated. It's a good show. Basically about this one chick, this Chinese-American teenager or preteen who is a chick, and she loves solving mysteries. So she, for the most part, hangs out with the police and help them solve mysteries, whether they want her help or not. But it's really, really dope. Hey Dude. So Hey Dude, let me picture this for you guys. Saved by the Bell, a classic sitcom right there. Now you take that and you put that at a ranch, and that's Hey Dude. I crap you not, that's Hey Dude right there. But despite the Western or the ranch Saved by the Bell knockoff, it's still a good show. It's still a good show, so I recommend you check it out. Zoe 101. Not a lot of people talk about this as a good show, mostly because Jamie Lee Spears is the star. But I actually like this show. The first season, I'm like, okay, whatever. But as the season went on, it was actually getting good, and I actually like this show. So yeah, check that out. The Secret World of Alex Mack. Oh man, this was hard. I really wanted to put this on the list because this is a classic right here. Those of you who knows what's up, man. But yeah, this is a classic right here. I really want to put this in, but I couldn't, man, because the 10 that was actually in, or better, in the one honorable mention was even better than this one, and that is Victorious. So yeah, this is another underrated show, and I really like this one, man, mostly because they have like 2 females that are really, really fine. Obviously, we all know one of them who became a fantastic singer, but that show was really, really funny. I really, really like that one as well. Now, let's move on to number 1. Kenan Kel. I mean, come on. Y'all should know this. Kenan Kel, without question, the best Nickelodeon sitcom of all time. So basically, here's the premise of the show, in case for those of you who don't know about it, and I have no clue why you wouldn't know about it. So the show was set in Chicago, Illinois, and centered on the antics of 2 mischievous teenagers, Kenan Rockmore and Kel Kimball. Kenan is a high school student with a job at a local grocery store, while Kel is his clumsy orange soda loving best friend. Episodes of the series always open and close with Kenan Kel breaking the fourth wall by interacting with the studio audience, standing in front of a red curtain that is placed in front of the main set while still in character. A frequent running gag of the openings would be Kel never knowing what the night's episode would be about and Kenan refusing to tell him. The closing will frequently features Kenan coming up with a new scheme, often asking Kel to get various assorted items and meet him somewhere. Basil, Kel will exclaim his catchphrase, "Oh, here it goes." Another catchphrase commonly heard throughout the series is "Why?", usually screamed by Kenan after Kel does something stupid. So, yeah, there you go with that. This was a classic without question. There was 4 seasons and a grand total of 65 episodes in a TV movie. And this joint ran from check this out, July 15, 1996, all the way up to July 15, 2000. So that's funny. So, yeah, and obviously there was a bunch of reruns, and I believe it's a part of the Splat now. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But, yeah, without question, Kenan Kel, the best Nickelodeon sitcom of all time, in my opinion. So, that's my list right there, man. So, yeah, with all that said, y'all know who this is. This your boy, the new Jay Gatsby, a.k.a. the new Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.